Hey, what is up everybody, Blades for here, and today I for you guys another video for Persona 5X. Inside today's video guys, we're going to be doing the TW update on the tier list here, seeing it is that time of the month. Now last month we ended up not doing one because it was a little bit too late when we recognized it, had a lot of things going on. So there is a little bit of a gap based on how the actual tier list is going to be changing this time. We have 3 additional new characters that are going to be getting added and a lot to at least discuss when it comes down to certain characters moving here. So if you guys are interested in this, be sure to sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. As always, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It really does help me out quite a lot here. And I'm going to have another global video for you guys later on today, so look forward to that. Now, if you guys can go ahead and take a little bit of a look-see on my Steam, or at least on my screen here, you guys can immediately see the actual tier list that we're going to be looking at. Now, this tier list is the one that we ended up doing about 2 months ago here, where the newest character that we ended up adding was Yukari at the time. Now we have, of course, a few characters to actually go ahead and do here, and I actually want to make it a little bit smaller so you guys can see this a little better on all the characters. But we have a few characters that we're going to go ahead and add immediately. As you can see, Akihiko, Barry, and Marian are all now characters that are in at least the ones that we need to go over here. So it is going to be kind of interesting to see how this is going to actually work out itself here. So the first thing that I got to do, we need to move up some characters. We need to move down some characters. Now, I'm gonna straight up say it right now. This does not mean the characters are absolutely horrendous or bad of any nature. In fact, it means they're real still good, but at the same time, there's been a lot of uses that they no longer are getting used anymore, or either they just have not been used for a very long time, hence the reason they need to start getting moved down. So there are going to be a few that stay where they are, seeing that they are still pretty stable, or a few who are going to move down, seeing that their usability has been absolutely in the gutter and that they're not doing too well any longer. And then there's going to be a few who move up. So let's get straight into it. So starting off with some of them that are moving down here. This one actually kind of hurt me immediately, and I'm going to take a look at the S tier section here because unfortunately 2 of these characters out of, well, 3 of these characters out of all of them are going to end up moving down here. The first character is going to be Summer Closer. Now, Summer Closer immediately is a really good character. We know for a fact she's going to be absolutely amazing when, of course, the actual update does hit for global here. Unfortunately, we have not had anything that utilizes her use at all for a very long time. And with the addition of some AoE units, now it's about time that we end up moving this character on down here, which does make me a little bit sad. She's still really good here. The only issue is, since we have had a couple new characters join the fray and a couple ones get reworked, it only makes sense that she's gonna go ahead and move down. For example, the newest AoE character, which was Akihiko, got added in, and so she ends up going down. With the addition of at least Summer Puppet, which is going to be coming out next update, it also kind of verifies that she's going to move down even further on her usability and generality. Another thing that ended up happening was also the inclusion of course, Haru, and getting her reworked at least early in, where Haru is really strong compared to going ahead and utilizing as closer, and so her usability as a AoE DPS has now moved down a little bit more. Now, the next characters that we're going to go ahead and move down, our next character that we're going to be moving now is Makoto Nijima. Now, Makoto Nijima here is also another good character that ends up being pretty dang strong. The only issue is we have not had any use for her for quite some time. Now, knowing us, we are going to be getting the increase for her in the next update, if I'm correct. So she will be going up in the next tier list right now, but this is before the actual update has happened for TW, KR, and CN. So she is sticking down into the S- tier. Once she does get her rework, or at least her buff, she's going to be back in the S tier, so she's not going to stay here for long, but it is the placement that she belongs here, seeing that we have not utilized her for quite some time. And of course, her damage markers are starting to get to that point where, compared to our other DPSs that are single target, much like Barry and Makoto Yuki, they're no longer starting to get used too much for at least the Makoto Nijima side of things, so I had to move her down. Lastly, the next character that's getting moved down from the S tier is going to be the man Mesa. Mesa's still really good. Unfortunately, the man is getting moved down not only because of his usability in general, but it's because of not only his awarenesses that are actually in that play. The A0 is still really decent, but once you go ahead and take a look at it, most of this character gets his use if he's 8, 3, and above. Now, normally I don't take awarenesses into account for my tier list here, mainly because it's just too much to really account for, but this is one of the few characters that I have to do so with this as well in mind. The usability of the character was already going lower and lower, and with the damage markers that we have to start hitting now, he's slowly starting to fall off that usability list, whether you have Deuce for him or not. So unfortunately, the man has to go down to the S- tier, and I think that's just where he's gonna stay for quite some time until he gets a little bit more usability, or either gets some more events that he can be used in general. So that is at least the move downs from the S tier function. We're gonna go ahead and move some down from the S+ function. Now these characters are still really good as well, but they're gonna get moved down due to, of course, their just usability in general. Now, as I did say beforehand, the first character that's going to get moved down is going to be Haru, and she's only going down to the S tier function. The reason that she's getting moved down is because we do have some more AoE units that are dealing some crazy numbers, much like Akihiko. Chinese New Year Rin also is still doing way better numbers than her at times, so at this point in time, it's unfortunate that Haru is moving down, but I think this is a good stable point that she can actually live with. The next character going ahead and moving down is going to be Mon Figure Skater. The usability for this character is still really high. The only issue with her is her usability in both of her forms is rather low. She's only used for at least the win side of things, and as a single target damager, she's slowly falling off in that damage marker as well. Not to mention her usability inside of Guild Boss and SOS has gotten very low, so with her being in the S tier function, it's pretty okay to actually see her in that area. She's not bad at all with at least the amount of damage that she can do, but for S+ functionality, I don't think that she's going to be belonging there for quite some time unless they go ahead and bring her back to the meta. So for now, she's going to be in the S tier area. Now the next character that is going ahead and actually moving down is going to be from the S tier function, or at least the S- tier function. Now these characters already were pretty decent, but with things that are going on now, they're starting to get their usability more, or at least a lot less than other characters. There's only going to be one character or two characters that are really moving out of this one here, and it's just because of course, time affecting them. The first character that's going to go ahead and move down is going to be the main Yusuke. Yusuke himself is actually really good, and after he ended up getting a little bit of a buff here, it did make a little difference for him, but it didn't realize, or at least really revive this character. Plus with Summer Puppet coming along, it was only a matter of time for this guy to go down. So unfortunately, he's going down to the A tier. Still a strong unit, just had to go down to the A tier. Lastly, the next character that's probably going to be going down here as well is going to be the man Skull. With the at least moving down of our man Mesa here, if it was only a matter of time that the man Skull was going to get moved down as well, seeing that the physical use of him is a lot lower than at least Mesa himself. So it was kind of those two that are the only ones that I wanted to move down to the A type tier list here, which was just a matter of time to be honest, but it still had to happen. As for the rest of these characters, they can kind of stay exactly where they are. Although some of the 4 stars do need to get moved down, we haven't had any newer 4 stars at least added to the fray yet, so I don't see a need to at least move those guys down just yet, but they will be moved down if there are other 4 stars added in the future. Now that we've done all of our moving downs here, we have a few characters that we do need to go ahead and move up. So this is going to be the moving up section of the video. With this in mind here, the first character that's getting moved back up here is going to be Cord. Cord immediately came back after, of course, we got through with the C's releases, being the P3R releases here. With the addition of Barry and as well the addition of at least Swimsuit Puppet, she very well can be used with both characters. Now, she's not going to be a best in slot for Swimsuit Puppet most likely, but she still is going to be fairly usable. With the actual amount of also SOSs that have needed Cord with either sides as well as the guild bosses, it really does justify her moving back up to the S+ function. So I hope a lot of you guys can at least withstand this one. Now the next character who is immediately going to be moving up, well, actually I think the rest of them can stay, because I was going to go ahead and I had this on my bullet list that I was going to move up Joker, but S+ wise I don't think he needs to be anywhere. I think he still stays in the S area, even though Dominion just keeps coming back. So this character is just going to stay in the S area instead of me moving them up to S+ like I originally planned. So that's everything that we need to do for the moving up section here. Let's go ahead and get straight into the section of moving in the new characters. Now the first character who's getting moved straight in here is going to be Akihiko at the S+ function. Now the reason why Akihiko is going to be at an S+ function here is because he does some very monstrous damage for an AoE DPSer, and with everything that he's able to actually accomplish here, going down from knocking down the enemy, being very useful inside of SOS itself, and even Guild Boss, I feel like this character just kind of justifies his actual movability into the S+ section. When his actual update came out at this point in time, it allowed him to be very high on at least those killing boards immediately for those mobs, which was really nice to actually have. Though of course he did get a little bit less usage. I want to say the last update, this update he's been very prominent where it comes down to some of the SOS functions. So I think he really does deserve to be here, not to mention the build, at least the guild boss function as well. He's been very prominent there. So I think he definitely belongs to be in here with the addition of that weapon of his that really just helps out his whole play style. So he's going to be joining the S+ section. The next character joining the S+ section is going to be Barry. Now Barry is a newer person when it comes down to at least the single target section, hence the reason that we had them end up moving down Mont here. And Barry, without a doubt, has made herself very known. She can be used as a single target DPS quite easily, seeing that as her main classification. But if you're able to actually kill mobs off as well, which you are able to do very easily with SOS and Guild Boss recently, this character can crank out some major damage numbers. With this in mind, if she can even kill one of those mobs, she ends up turning herself pretty much like an AoE DPS, jumping from mob to mob, dealing some devastating damage, and each one that she kills, the more she's gonna go ahead and jump to another enemy. This was a huge founding type deal when she ended up coming out, and even currently now, she definitely keeps hold of that actual position. So her being in the S+ section, I feel like is very much so justified. And I feel like a lot of you guys will end up agreeing with this, especially with the other classifications that are in here. We currently only have 3 single targets in the S+ function, so I think this is actually the decent amount that we need to have. And until of course we have one that absolutely shatters that stat goal, I think 3 is a perfect amount to have in the S+ section, her being the last one. And then lastly, we have Marian. Now Marian was the newest character that ended up dropping recently here that was actually pretty darn insane. She can not only just of course help you out with buffs and natural crit damage performances, much like Rico, or at least Win Vasta herself, but she also can help you out a ton when it does come down to utilizing any types of items. And these items can definitely be used while on her own turn and not take up that said turn. So it was a huge deal. She was able to use anything you wanted her to, whether of course it was a buff item, whether it was DOT damage, damage dealt in general, overall attacking, HP, anything you name it, she can have it. She can even utilize some of the basic little medicines that you end up buying to help out your HP stats, which is really helpful in all type of circumstances. So this character not only got away with a free little item, but also her turn and had some really good kits to boot. I feel like this character, you already know where she's going to end up going, and that's going to be the S+ section. Now featuring the most S+ characters we've had in a very long time here, in which I feel like this is a justified type list here. With everything that's been going on, these characters, especially in the top, at least S+ section, have been utilized quite often. I think in the next one that we're going to end up doing, I feel like only 1 or 2 of them are probably going to get moved out, maybe just one of them, unless of course we get another classification for a certain character. I think one of those characters are definitely going to be a debuffer, so for now this is pretty decent of an actual roster for our S+ characters. But with this in mind, I feel like everyone deserves to be here, and you guys can let me know down below in the comment sections how you feel about this tier list. Do you agree? Do you not agree? And what characters would you move in and out? I'm very excited and very interested to hear exactly what you guys feel about this. And for now, till later everybody, thank you for watching, and y'all have a wonderful day. Peace out.